Chapter 4. If you are ever forced to take a chemistry class, you will probably see at the front of the classroom a large chart divided into squares, with different numbers and letters in each of them. This chart is called the Table of the Elements, and scientists like to say that it contains all the substances that make up our world. Like everyone else, scientists are wrong from time to time, and it is easy to see that they are wrong about the table of elements. Because although this table contains a great many elements from the element oxygen, which is found in the air, to the element aluminum, which is found in cans of soda, the table of elements does not contain one of the most powerful elements that make up our world, and that is the element of surprise. The element of surprise is not a gas, like oxygen, or a solid, like aluminum. The element of surprise is an unfair advantage, and it can be found in situations in which one person has sneaked up on another. The surprised person, or, in this sad case, the surprised persons, are too stunned to defend themselves, and the sneaky person has the advantage of the element of surprise. "Hello, please," Count Olaf said in his raspy voice, and the Baudelaire orphans were too stunned to defend themselves. They did not scream. They did not run away from Olaf. They did not call out for their guardians to save them. They merely stood there in their enormous pinstripe suits and stared at the terrible man who had somehow found them once more. As Olaf looked down at them with a nasty smile, enjoying the unfair advantage of the element of surprise, the children saw that he was in yet another of his nefarious disguises. A phrase which here means that he did not fool them one bit, no matter what he was wearing. On Olaf's feet were a pair of shiny black boots with high tops that almost reached his knees, the sort of boots that someone might wear to ride a horse. Over one of Olaf's eyes was a monocle, which is an eyeglass for one eye instead of two. The sort of eyewear that requires you to furrow your brow in order to keep it in place. And the rest of his body was covered in a pinstripe suit, the sort of suit that someone might wear in order to be in at the time when this story takes place. But the Baudelaires knew that Olaf didn't care about being in any more than he had imperfect vision in one eye, or was about to go horseback riding. The three children knew that Olaf was wearing boots to cover up the tattoo of an eye that he had on his left ankle. They knew he was wearing the monocle so that he could furrow his brow and make it difficult to see that he had only one long eyebrow over his shiny, shiny eyes. And they knew that he was wearing a pinstripe suit so that the people would think he was a rich person who belonged on Dark Avenue, instead of the greedy, treacherous villain who belonged in a heavily guarded prison. "You must be children, please," he continued, using the word please incorrectly for the second time. "The name of mine is Gunther. Please excuse the talking of me. Please, I am not fluent in the English language, please." "How?" Violet said, and then stopped. She was still stunned, and it was difficult to finish the sentence. "How did you find us so quickly, and how did you get past the doorman who promised to keep you away from us while under the element of surprise?" "Where?" Klaus said, and then stopped. He was as stunned as his sister, and he found it impossible to finish the sentence. "Where have you put the Quagmire triplets while under the element of surprise?" "Bick," Sonny said, and stopped. The element of surprise weighed down on the youngest Baudelaire as heavily as it did on Violet and Klaus, and Sonny could not find the words to finish the sentence. "Bicka you do," which meant something like, "What new evil plan have you cooked up to steal our fortune?" I see you are not fluent in the English language either, please, Count Olaf said, continuing to fake a different way of talking. Where is the mother and father? We're not the mother and father, Esme said. And the Baudelaires felt another element of surprise as the Squallers walked into the hallway from another door. We're the legal guardians. These children are orphans, Gunther. Ah, from behind his monocle, Count Olaf's eyes grew even shinier, as they often did when he was looking down on the helpless Baudelaires. The children felt as if his eyes were a pair of lit matches about to burn them to a crisp. Orphans in, he said. I know orphans are in, Esme said, ignoring Olaf's improper grammar. In fact, they're so in, they ought to be auctioned off next week at the big event. Esme, James said, I'm shocked. We're not going to auction off these children. Of course we're not, Esme said. It's against the law to auction off children. Oh, well, come along, Gunther. I'll give you a full tour of our apartment. Jerome, take the children to Cafe Salmonella. But we haven't introduced them, Jerome said. Violet, Klaus, Sonny. Meet Gunther, the auctioneer we are talking about earlier. Gunther met the newest members of our family. I'm happy